Our online services will resume in September, and in the meantime, every Sunday throughout August at 10:30 on Facebook or YouTube, Mike or Peter will offer a short reflection based on the letter of James. Once you've listened to that, why not check out an earlier online service that you might have missed? Or on another Sunday, why not listen to one of our earlier sermons that are recorded?
I'm reading from James chapter 2, verses 14 to 17. What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save them? Suppose a brother or a sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm and well fed," but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. I was 13 years old. I've been brought up in a Christian family, but I had questions. Is this Christian faith I've inherited alive? Has Christianity got something about it? Is there life in it? Is there power in it? Or is it just the dry repetition of dusty beliefs and practices? I got some answers in the form of a 24-year-old Brazilian man and his wife. Together they came to the UK so that he could do a master's part-time and start a youth group part-time at my previous church, New Life. He was very funny, so tall that he couldn't really fit into his Rover Metro. He had to duck down while driving. He called biscuits biscuits, and he thought the co-op was called Welcome because that was the word on the big sign outside of the co-op. Anyway, each Saturday night he would essentially preach to the whole youth group. He would talk about the love of God, the cross of Christ, the power of the Holy Spirit. And not only was he a brilliant preacher, but the Christian faith he preached was written all over his life. He and his wife, on coming to the UK, had moved into quite a deprived area, and they invited all the teenagers on the estate to the youth group, along with a handful of church kids too. At this youth group, every young person's birthday was celebrated. Every young person was valued, believed in, encouraged. Some of the young people didn't get this kind of stuff at home, and so it was very, very significant. If you've been around teenagers much, you know that they can be very sensitive to issues of integrity and authenticity, and rightly so. They can sniff out hypocrisy and double standards from miles away. And I have to say, I was a pretty sceptical, distrustful teenager. But within a month of going to that youth group, I was sold. For some reason, when this funny Brazilian man preached, the gospel came alive, and it was like God was speaking to me. Almost every week, I found myself giving my life to God afresh. I grasped God's love in a way that energises me to this day. Looking back, I can see God at work, calling me to himself. But I also can see that part of God's reaching out to me was through the kindness of this couple from Brazil and the integrity of their faith and their deeds. And all I can say is that they were the real deal. Their faith was alive in the sense that it was expressed so clearly in concrete action. For me as a teenager, that made Christian faith that bit more believable, exciting, intriguing, because I could see faith went somewhere. It impacted the whole of life. In our reading, James writes, faith without deeds is dead. Faith in God, trust in God, conviction in God, if it's alive, it impacts the whole of life, and specifically one's treatment of people who have fallen on hard times. James offers this extreme scenario. Imagine someone comes to you with no food or clothes and you just send them away, wishing them well. Go in peace, keep warm and well fed. Well, James says that the faith of that person is no good. Their doctrine, their beliefs might be very sound, they might be very pious, use all the right Christianese phrases, be blessed, go in peace. But if they can't actually help out a person who has fallen on hard times and the integrity of their faith is compromised, their faith is even dead. When you look back over the last 4 or 5 months, how has your faith energised, inspired, spurred you on to help people out in practical ways? Please don't freak out here. If you're anything like me, your mind probably goes back blank. That's all right. But consider just a few questions. Are your actions giving someone another reason to believe that there is a God who loves them and who gives everything for them? And when you see someone in need, does your mind rush to what you can't do, or do you gently ask yourself if there's something, even small, that you can do for them? Would you say that lockdown and all of this pandemic has helped to open your eyes to the needs of others? Or would you say your vision has narrowed somewhat? Of course, there's the opposite danger too, deeds without faith. It's possible to throw ourselves into making a difference in the world, so much so that we're exhausted because we might be serving people, saving the planet, but if we've lost sight of who we really are, and if we find ourselves satisfying our deepest needs with good works, we can find ourselves burning out. But there is hope, because when we realign with our true nature, that we're God's beloved child, that we're sustained by grace, that we're counted righteous before God because of not our own faithfulness, but the faithfulness of Christ. And it's possible to have deep roots, and our faith can be this kind of rich resource to draw on and enable us to carry out all sorts of good work in the world. No longer motivated by our guilt or our own neediness, we can find ourselves rather compelled by the love of God into all sorts of good work in the world. So might you be someone whose life is brimming with good deeds, but who has lost sight of that core identity? Might you be using good deeds to meet your own needs that only God can fully meet? You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they find rest in you. That's how someone called St. Augustine saw it. Just a final image to leave you with, to reflect on this morning. Think of a tree, a healthy tree, a strong tree, its roots going down deep and wide, its branches going up and out. This tree could be you, the roots your faith, the branches your deeds, together enabling you to nurture a whole ecosystem of life, creating an atmosphere where the people around you can flourish. It was something like that I experienced in my youth group as a teenager with my youth leaders. I know it's possible. So where might you invite God to help you grow this morning? Growth in your roots or growth in your branches? Growth in faith or growth in deeds?
My trust is without